gentlemen, welcome to the Critic Cave. Guys, listen, we're doing something a little different here for you. We're doing this on YouTube. We're doing these videos for you. And guys, with me today is your co-host as usual, Mr. Christian DeLuca. Christian, say hi to everybody.
Hello, everyone out there.
That's right, guys. Listen, we haven't had any good films to review in the last couple of weeks. It's been a pretty shitty couple of weeks. We've reviewed Cats?
It's been an embarrassing couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's been embarrassing. We've reviewed Cats and we've reviewed The Grudge, and they were both pretty fucking horrendous.
Good God.
I shouldn't be surprised. But anyways, guys, the master, the savior of cinema, Christopher Nolan today, guys. That's whose movies we're going to review today. And we're reviewing this in anticipation. And also, let's be real, because we have nothing else really good to review right now. And we're going to review Inception by Christopher Nolan. One of my favorite films of all time, guys. I cannot wait to get into this review. Christian, are you excited for this?
Very excited. And rewatching this movie, man, because like I said, I believe it was in the Grudge podcast or whatever, but this was the second time that I've seen this movie. First time was in theaters.
Right.
And seeing this a second time has really helped me understand more of the movie, because I really do believe watching this once, you're not going to get the whole film.
No.
You're just not.
No.
You got to rewatch this again.
No.
And seeing it again and being able to actually follow through with everything and learn what's going on. Damn, this movie was good.
Oh, it's one of the it's freaking amazing. Look, this film, I remember going to theaters, guys. I was with a group of friends. I had seen the trailer once or twice. I had no idea what the hell I was really getting myself into. And holy crap, it was insane the entire time. Mm-hmm. This is one of those films where I walked out and I said, what happened at the end? What really happened at the end? Mm-hmm. And this film came out what year, Christian?
2010.
2010.
This doesn't even look like a 10-year-old movie.
No. And here's the thing. With Christopher Nolan films, even his very first film, his first big release film, Memento, which is a fantastic movie, guys. If you haven't seen it, definitely check out Memento. Even that film, that one does look a little bit dated. Mm-hmm. Other than that, you look at the rest of his filmography, and his films to me are timeless. Why? Because they don't deal with necessarily current events per se. They're films that are timeless. They're interesting subjects that he touches upon in a very unique way. I don't know, Christian, if you know that Christopher Nolan, he calls it the loop system. Okay. The way he writes films, he does it in a loop where everything eventually comes back around to something. Everything can be broken up into pieces, but everything eventually connects at the end.
Interesting.
And it is very much the truth on the way he does his films. So, Christian.
Yes.
Let's get straight into it. Give everyone out there one of those beautiful, amazing juicy, synopsis of yours.
Spicy
juicy,
synopsis.
just super spicy. Yes, bro. Yes. Yes.
Ooh,
please.
Getting the snapperoonies in here. Here we go.
YouTube world and podcast world. Yes, just saw
everyone
over here.
Let my sultry voice just wash over you.
Christian. Do it.
I'm about to do it.
That's right. Do it.
Synopsis for Inception. Dom Cobb, a professional idea extractor, is enlisted by Mr. Saito, the head of a powerful energy company, to plant an idea into the mind of the son of Maurice Fisher, the head of another powerful energy company, in hopes of gaining an edge over his competitor. This process is called Inception and was thought to be impossible until now. Ooh. Dom must put a team together to plant this idea, and he must overcome his own demons along the way.
Beautifully done, sir. Beautifully done. So, guys, let's start right off the bat. Look, this film came out in 2010. It's been, 10 years since this film came out.
Been a while.
It has been a while. Indeed, it has been a while. So, guys, look, I have seen this movie at least once or twice a year. And it wasn't until the last 2 or 3 years of seeing this film that I finally fleshed out my theory and I found my proofs in my theory. And guys, listen, if you're waiting for a spoiler alert for this film, too bad, so sad. Why are you even watching this or listening to this? Just go to Netflix. It's on Netflix now, and go watch the damn thing.
Nobody
Pause
has Netflix
it right here.
anymore, Brian. Didn't you hear? Everyone went to
That's
Disney
right.
Plus.
Well, until The Mandalorian was over, and apparently everyone started canceling because The Mandalorian was over. Have you heard about that nonsense?
No. Really?
Yes.
Well, now
We'll
wait
get
a minute.
into
Were
it.
all those free trials though? Let's be honest here.
I
Sure,
don't
a few
know,
of those
man.
were
I don't know.
freebies.
I don't know, man. Who knows? But look, we're here to talk about Inception, so let's try not to deviate from that part.
Right.
So listen, this film, I'm gonna go right off the bat, and I'm gonna throw my theory out there as to what the fuck what's really happening in this film. I'm just going right in because I just want to get into it already.
Wow.
Look, guys,
Okay.
this film plays on a really interesting concept of dreams and how the mind interprets and perceives them, and the effects that that has on the way you go about your day-to-day life,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this guy Cobb, we're being told in the film, we're being shown in the film that Cobb is the one doing the inception, and he's getting a team together, right? That's what we're led to believe.
It's
in
like
my
the
opinion.
opposite of a heist film. Instead
Exactly.
of taking something, we're putting something in.
We're putting something in. Exactly. It's a mind heist film. So everyone seems to think that DiCaprio is out there doing this with the team and that everything goes wrong. Here's my belief. My belief is this. The entire film is centered around the team, not DiCaprio, trying to perform an inception on DiCaprio to get him out of limbo, because he's the one stuck in limbo. The whole team is trying to get him out of limbo by how? Doing an inception on the guy who was the best at doing the inceptions, because he's in such a limbo. And here's my proof. And I know I see your face, and guys, I'm sure you're out there. You're thinking the same thing. Here's my two reasons why. There's more than two. Number one, in the beginning of the film, we see Molly, played by Marion Cotillard, who's one of the greatest actresses ever. I mean, she won an Oscar for her first big break film. I mean, how much better can you get than that? But Marion Cotillard plays Cobb's wife in the film, who we find out later in the film is supposedly dead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, supposedly dead. Here's what happens. Cobb is on his knees.
Pretty dead. She jumped off a fucking building, so she's quite dead.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
Uh-oh.
Molly
Plot
is
twist?
there. He's got exactly. Molly's in the chair. Cobb is on the ground, tying her up, right, to restrain her, and so he can escape and get out the room.
And this isn't a dream, so people out there know what's going on.
This is during the beginning of the film when they're trying to perform an inception on Sato, who runs the corporation that wants to overthrow or beat out the other corporation that's his competitor.
Well, they're actually doing an extraction, right? So this is an extraction. Yeah,
exactly.
And then
It's a test.
we'll get to the inception later in the movie.
Exactly. So as Cobb is trying to restrain Molly, his ex, he's trying not to talk to her, but then Molly looks at him and goes, something in regards to our children, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cobb is looking down. When she says that, he looks up. She looks concerned. He looks down, ignores her, and starts talking about something else to her. Right? He completely avoids the subject.
Well, he tries changing the subject multiple times.
He tries. Exactly. And that was my first red flag. I'm like, why does he keep changing the subject? This makes no sense. Why does he keep changing something? I feel like he's avoiding something. Mm-hmm. And then it hit me in one of my viewings, guys. It hit me. And this is a very long-winded explanation in theory. I'm sorry. It hit me when Cobb's character goes to see Michael Caine's character for the first time in the film. We're introduced to Michael Caine. He's some kind of professor. I'm not exactly sure what his role was behind the scenes in the film. I don't know if he was a mentor or is it his father-in-law. I don't know what the deal is there with.
I'm not sure about the entire relationship with those two. I don't know how they were connected.
Same.
But I believe he had something to do with coming up with the technology to begin with.
Right.
Because we are told in the movie that this technology was utilized primarily by the military, right? And it was so that soldiers could go into dreams together and kill each other for practice.
Exactly.
Right, so maybe he had something to do with that.
So you think that he had something to do with it? I have a feeling too, an inkling. And the thing is, that's the genius of Christopher Nolan's writing. He doesn't necessarily have to explain certain things because it's unnecessary. He's just trying to push you along to the critical points of the film, the things that matter. The other stuff you can figure it out on your own, and I love that about him. So as Cobb and Michael Caine are talking, they're discussing things. They're just having a normal conversation. They're talking about whatever it is, about him wanting to come back and that he's working on this job that can potentially get him back to the U.S. because something apparently happened that he can't come back to the U.S. As they're talking about that, Michael Caine looks at Cobb, interjects, and Michael Caine literally tells Cobb, come back to reality, please. Please come back to reality. And he starts crying. That's when I literally shut out my chair. I'm like, oh my God, this is Christopher Nolan telling us, guys, it's Cobb that's in the limbo. Why would Michael Caine out of nowhere go, come back to us, come back to reality, please, we miss you? And why would he be crying so heavily? Why? Out of nowhere. It makes no sense. Other than the fact that they're trying to tell us in a subtle manner that the one that's really stuck in limbo is Cobb the entire time. The beginning of the film, Cobb is in limbo. Now we are there with the team from the moment the film cuts away from that beginning intro where Cobb is sitting down at that big-ass dinner table and you see Soto at the end as an old man, right? The film starts there. Why is the film starting there to begin with? Because he's in limbo and we are supposed to be part of the team, and the film is from the point of view of the team and not so much Cobb. Even though we're led to believe that Cobb is the point of view that we're seeing and that he is the one performing this Inception. No.
Interesting.
No. And even at a point when, what's her face's name? Oh my God, Juno. I can't believe I'm forgetting her damn name. I'm sorry.
Ellen Page. When she's being introduced to the maze world,
they're walking through and she's starting to change a few little things. She's starting to understand the world as he's explaining it to her for the first time. She even says something. She makes a snarky comment, but it's one of those things that just passes you and you have to kind of pay attention to it. She says something along the lines, something that seemed like she already knew about him. It begs it begs that, hey, even she's in on this.
Two things, Brian. I got two things.
Okay.
One of which is a correction for both of us.
Okay.
Michael Caine is the grandfather of these children.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine is the grandfather. And then the second thing that might possibly end up destroying your theory here.
Oh, God.
Here we go. Get ready for yourself. Brace it. Here we go.
Okay.
How come in some scenes the top stops spinning? If this was all a dream, why would the top stop spinning?
Does it really stop spinning, though?
Yes. There's multiple times.
We see it moving. You see... This is... Guys, hold on a second.
Uh-oh.
This is why we're doing this film review of Inception, guys. We're doing this film.
I think we're gonna have two completely different theories about how this movie ends.
And that's okay, guys. Listen, it's okay to have a view or a B view or a C view, because guess what? That's the whole point of, like I've said in previous podcasts, is that we go to see film so that we escape, and then we can be tested as audience members and respected. Because let me tell you, what better way to respect your audience than to say, here's an incredible film that's going to change, that's going to be make an indelible impact on cinema. But at the end of it, I'm going to treat you like a human being, like an adult, like an intelligent human being that you should be treated as. And I'm going to give you an ending that is going to have everyone speaking and theorizing for years and years to come.
This is the second movie. This will be the second movie where Leo has gotten fucked with since the beginning of the film, like Shutter Island. Like, it's the same. Yeah.
That's a very underrated film.
That's a fantastic film. I just saw it about a month ago. It was great.
Yeah, same.
And again, that's another movie I hadn't seen. I've only seen once in theaters, and watching it again, it's, especially knowing how it ends, it's a great film. Yeah,
it is.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I like to think by the end of this movie, it really is him coming back to reality, overcoming everything he's gone through with his wife. You know, everyone at the end gets what they want, pretty much.
Okay.
I will say the one thing that just bothers me about the ending, and this isn't a negative in any way.
Okay.
The one thing that bothers me about the ending was the music. I love this song so much, and when this song starts playing at the end, it's almost too haunting.
Okay.
It's almost like it was put there as a way to tell the audience, no, he's not back in reality. It's very strange. And that's the one thing
are you agreeing to my theory right now?
No,
even though you weren't
I'm not. I'm not agreeing to your whole theory about him.
You could
from
see
the very
Christian's
beginning.
face
No,
like,
shut
get
your
the
fucking
fuck.
face, bro. Shut your face.
Guys, listen. You could see
No.
Christian's face the entire time like, no, this motherfucker's full of shit. Listen, I'm telling you right now, my best friend, this movie is 100% about the team performing the Inception on Cobb, on DiCaprio's character.
Then who does this team work for?
For no one, because they've worked with this guy for so long. It's clearly established that Michael Caine's character, who's the grandfather, and you've got what the hell? Oh my god, I can't believe his name. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. You've got Joseph Gordon-Levitt. They're clearly establishing that they've been working for quite some time already. So why wouldn't they be doing this just for him? Because if you were my best friend, or I worked with you closely, and we've known each other for years, and we were a team that did the same thing, and you went into limbo, right? You went into limbo.
Okay.
Would I not go out there and do something crazy like this to try to get you out when nothing else has worked?
Okay, but you're gonna have to explain to me then.
Okay.
How? So what you're saying is this is a dream within a dream within a dream within a dream? Four levels?
A dream within a dream?
No.
It's
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 levels?
It basically what it is, and guys, I know it's a crazy theory because you're being presented the film from a certain point of view on purpose, because he's misleading you on purpose. And the reason I believe that is because you go back to a film like Memento. Have you seen Memento, by the way?
I had only seen maybe half of it when I was younger.
Okay, I have it on Vudu. I want you to do me a favor, Christian. At some point this week, this is your homework. I want you
homework
to see
I
Memento.
actually want to do for once. Great.
Hey, I know, right? I want you to see Memento from beginning to end, and I want you to be focused on the film the entire time.
Well, it's funny you say that, because the one thing I do know about Memento is it starts at the end and works its way to the beginning.
Exactly, and I think you'll start to understand what I'm saying, because I don't want to spoil it for you.
Okay.
Just watch the film. Trust me. Do me that favor. Watch it with 100% undivided attention.
All right.
Because you have to watch every scene. Every scene counts in that film, guys. If you've got nothing to watch this week while you're waiting for whatever film you want to see on streaming or whatever it is, check out Memento, guys. It's one of the best films you'll ever see. I really, really think that that's what Nolan is trying to do in this film.
Okay.
He's misleading you. He's misdirecting you, making your attention go to one place when it should really be here instead of here. You know what I mean?
Why does that sound so familiar? Did he
My
direct
friend?
The Prestige?
The Prestige.
Oh.
Let me tell you something, guys.
All about misdirection.
Let me tell you something. I don't want to start deep diving into other films because we're trying to keep this focused and centered, and we're trying to keep it at a certain time limit. Here's the thing. We're going to eventually do a retrospective series on some of the greatest, what we consider the greatest directors of all time, right, Christian?
Yes, because this will help kind of cleanse the palate from all the shitty films we have to watch.
Exactly.
Throughout the years.
That's something we're going to do. We'll have that up eventually. But listen, just to give you guys a teaser, my very first choice for the retrospective, we're each going to pick one each week, and we're going to do it. My first pick, I'm telling you right now, I'm putting it out there, is Christopher Nolan. Why? Because Memento, because Inception, because The Prestige. That's another one that's still, to this day, that's one that I don't know. I don't have an answer or a theory.
Yeah, that one fucked me up. honestly.
It still fucks me up. And
Yeah.
when I think I've got a theory, then I break my theory because I'm like, well, no, that doesn't make sense because this, and this event wouldn't allow these things to happen. And then you've got films like Interstellar.
Which I've yet to still see.
You've never seen Interstellar.
Not all the way through, no.
I have it on Vudu.
Yet to see that.
That's another one. Okay.
All I remember from seeing what I saw was like the planet became really dusty.
Let me tell you something, guys. Interstellar came out. It got a bad rap, but I believe it got a bad rap because here's the thing. It's a film that makes you think. It is
That's every Christopher Nolan film. What?
Exactly. And if you're not in the mindset to watch a film where you're going to sit there and think and be respected as the audience member that you should be respected as, and you're not going to be spoon-fed exposition the entire film, then of course it's going to get bad reviews. His films are a thinking man's film. And that will never change. Okay? Interstellar is one of the greatest science fiction epics. If you guys haven't seen that film, get your asses out there. Go see it. Christian, that's another one. Please see it at some point before we do this retrospective.
Do you know if this is on Netflix?
It's not, but I believe I have it on one of my digital, like I either have it on Vudu or something.
Okay.
I'll give you the details after, and that way you can watch it because I want to
check it out.
Yeah, for sure. But guys, look, I know my theory is insane. I know it's crazy, but I really believe that's what's going to happen. So, Christian, what else do we want to touch on other than obviously the theory? Because we've just deep dived into the theory from the get-go on the film. What other things about this film did you find really awesome? Like, let the listeners and viewers out there know, like, for sure. Like, what were the things that really impressed you in this film?
So other than story and cinematography, which I am just the absolute sucker for, one of my other favorite parts of any film is always going to be the music. And Hans Zimmer does such a great job because, like I was just saying previously, that last
made in heaven.
That last scene, man, when that song starts playing on that last scene, oh, it is such a beautifully haunting score, just absolutely gorgeous.
Right. Well, and you can't beat the beginning sound of. Oh,
I know.
It's something that I love about Nolan. In a lot of his films lately, he has learned. I don't know if it's him that's learned, or Hans Zimmer, but together, I feel like they've come to a confidence to be able to say, okay, I'm going to use sound and not music as the soundtrack, as the music. The sound is going to propel you. It's going to propel the emotions. It's going to propel the story. It's going to propel the anxiety. Like another one of his greatest films, and I'm glad we saw that in theaters in IMAX, was Dunkirk.
Yeah.
The entire
so good
beginning of the film, all you hear is
right. And that's how the trailer was too, right? So I mean, like right from the get-go.
But here's the thing. In trailers, you see a fucking trailer, guys. Most of the time, the movie that you hear in the trailer isn't always going to be in the film because it's usually temp tracks that they've cut from other films and other projects into this because they just haven't had the time yet to do the music. Most of the time, the music doesn't get produced until a few weeks leading up until the film. They give it to someone. They say, "Here you go. You've got 6 weeks. Do your thing."
Well, a lot of these trailers use the exact same music, just like you were saying. They're cut from old shit, and then they're just slapped onto a trailer.
Hey, great example. If you listen to our Throwback Thursday episode, if you haven't listened to it, go back to our Throwback Thursday episode for RoboCop. RoboCop's original trailer, because it was a film made and produced by Orion Pictures. They said, okay, well, we don't have a music track. We haven't hired anyone yet. We have to release a trailer to get the attention of people. What did they use? The Terminator theme. That's any better example. You can't have a better example. And they're like, it's a robot movie. We make another robot movie. We put music of
That's how they sounded too. Hey, it's a robot movie.
Because Orion, if you guys don't know, and which is surprising me, did you realize that Orion Pictures still fucking exists? How?
What?
How have they not? Yes. They have a film coming out or something that I saw, and I was like, how the hell?
RoboCop 27?
I don't know. But Orion Pictures
the hell's keeping them afloat?
Right? Well, Orion Pictures was originally owned by oh my god, I can't believe it. Dino De Laurentiis. He's a Greek guy, real thick Greek accent. So yeah, it's crazy stuff. It was really surprising that they actually used the music from the trailer in the film for Inception. So, it was refreshing for sure
Mhm.
to see stuff like that. So like what else? What else made an impact for you, Christian, in this film? What other things are like memorable, other than everything?
Yeah, I know. I think I was just so caught up in the story and the writing
Yeah,
that
yeah.
focusing on anything else was pretty difficult. I'm not
It
gonna lie,
is. It's difficult. It is.
because this is definitely one of those movies, and we've talked about this before, where you have to
Mhm.
pay attention. You have to
You
have to because, like you
You
were
do.
saying, this movie does not treat its audience like a bunch of fucking idiots. You need to sit there. You need to keep your ears open. You need to
Yep.
understand what's going on
Yeah.
on screen. You need to understand the dialogue being thrown between characters, and it gets thrown pretty
Right.
quickly. You
Right.
really there's not much downtime to
No.
process everything that's happening on screen at once.
No, there really
And that's
isn't.
why a second, maybe even third viewing is required for a movie like this.
Or a twice a year, 3 times a year
Yeah.
viewing like I always
Yeah,
do.
exactly. Maybe make it a tradition 3 times a year to watch this movie. But I'm watching this again, man. I just have such a higher respect for this film because, like I said, the first time watching, I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
I walked out the
and I
theater.
still
There's very
enjoyed
few
it.
Same. There's very few films that I can walk out of a theater and go, "The fuck did I just see?"
Mm-hmm.
But this is one of them, and I mean that in the best possible sense,
Yeah.
because this is up there for me with 2001: A Space Odyssey. The Lighthouse was another one that really surprised the shit out of me.
Mm-hmm.
That even still, I still don't know what the fuck I'm
Which
watching.
got snubbed, by the way, at the fucking Oscars. Ridiculous.
You mean at the Golden Globes?
Or whatever it was. Not
Listen,
one.
I'm gonna
one fucking
here's the
award
thing.
nomination. Not one.
Here's the thing.
Not one.
I'm gonna tell real quick, because I don't. These are things that we should be talking about in our other segments that we're gonna be doing later. Here's the thing. Don't be so focused, guys, on the Golden Globes, because the Golden Globes is a waste of time. It's a giant fucking paperweight that the actors just put wherever. They don't give a fuck about the Golden Globes. The Golden Globes, do you know how the Golden Globes works?
I'm sure it's just a bunch of politics.
So what it is the foreign press, which is a bunch of foreign press from all over the world. They have a group, right, called the Foreign Press Association,
Mm-hmm.
and they decide who wins what award and whatnot. It's really weird. It's stupid. It makes no sense.
So
And
it's
here's
not like
thing.
the Oscars with an
No.
Academy?
No, and here's the thing. Most of the time, and the Academy is included in this too.
Okay.
It is all the Golden Globes and the Oscars are a race to see who can spend the most money to promote the film or the actor or the producer or the editor or the screenplay or the soundtrack. It's just like a political election. It's all about who has the most money to pump out to these people, even though they say no, our votes aren't influenced by money and blah blah blah. It's bullshit.
Is this where the
bullshit.
for your consideration comes from?
Yes.
Okay.
It's for your consideration with an underlying tone of, hey, we're going to shovel a bunch of money and goodies your way. And we're hopefully in the long run, we will influence your decision subconsciously or in your face.
So what, they're just lobbyists?
Straight up. It's all it is. It's all it is.
Oh, that's
Now,
great.
don't get me wrong. It's really
No.
cool to see, some actors like Christian Bale or, Charlize Theron or, some of these actors that they do deserve it. And the directors that they do deserve these awards. Yes, they're great. It does, it's the Oscars. When you say an Oscar winning director or producer, it gets your attention, right? You want to go see the film. So why wouldn't the studio spend all this money marketing and pushing a director to win something that studio has produced, because it's going to get asses in the seats for the next project that they eventually will hopefully work with that studio. So it benefits the studio to pump out money for them to win an Oscar.
What you're saying is, if Gary Oldman ends up having an amazing performance in a movie, don't be surprised if he doesn't get even nominated for that role. Got it. Okay.
Yep.
Because that man, again, that's another person who's been snubbed out of awards.
Does it with getting that little bit of information, does it make a difference now? Does it click in your head like that makes more sense why certain films don't win and certain this and certain projects don't win?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fucking sad too, man, because like a lot of, like you just said, a lot of these people deserve these awards. They deserve the recognition. They deserve to have the spotlight shown on them for what they've accomplished. And At the end of the day, it really all just comes down to money and politics and who
It does.
likes who, really.
It's all about who's got the bigger checkbook. That's really what it comes down to. Unfortunately, but we don't know that. We're not meant to know that. But it gets out there, like, you know, people like us, you know, especially me. You know, I really like to get into like behind the scenes and the politics of how Hollywood works. I've always been intrigued by that.
Yeah.
So most people don't know that. So, you know, most people are like, oh my God, they won the Oscar, deserved it. Maybe they didn't deserve it. Maybe it was that film that deserved it and not this one.
Do we know what Inception won? Did it win anything at the Oscars?
I don't know. That's a great question. I'm not sure if they did. And in reality, who cares if they won an Oscar or they won this or they won that? Because what better award than being one of the best films ever made? I mean,
oh shit! It won best cinematography, best sound editing, best sound mixing, and best visual effects.
Okay. Oh, that's another thing. Visual effects in a Nolan film, guys.
Oh.
You are in for a treat.
Goodness.
And you are in for what I like to call a synergy of miniature work, shot on camera work, and CGI to supplement and enhance the scene that you're about to witness, because there's no other way around it. Nolan
really knows how to use CG when it's needed. Because this man has a vision. And when his vision cannot be done practically, that's when he'll fall back on CGI. He only goes to CGI when he absolutely
has to. Everything with him is on film.
Yeah.
On film. Okay. On film. A great example, a fantastic example. We'll get into that when we get into the retrospective here soon, guys, of Nolan. Interstellar. When you see TARS, which is this block robotic thing, which is their assistant, when you're seeing him most of the time, it's a person puppeteering this thing on these metallic rods. And then what do? They go in and they CGI, they Photoshop out the puppeteer. And then if for some reason they can't get the puppet, the metal TARS to do the action that they wanted to, Nolan said, okay, I still want to use a portion of him to keep it real, but we can augment it with CG by adding the arms moving faster or this action, because there's no other way around it. But again, it's not a reliance on CGI. It's a last resort. And if it's a last resort, he makes sure it looks the best. There has never been a Nolan film that I've seen and gone, that's CGI. Every Nolan film I see, I go,
yeah, a great example of that is in that movie, Interstellar.
Is that CG or is that real?
Interstellar has the scene where was it TARS, the robot?
Yes.
Goes out into some water. And again, I have no context for this because I haven't seen it. But he goes out into some water to save somebody. And when he goes out into the water and he's kicking up all this water, not only him, but all of the water is also CG. And I shit you not, it looks so fucking real. It does. Unbelievable. It's insane.
And it's because there's a mixture of elements.
Right. And another great example of how he uses CGI and practical effects is, so that was all CGI, but in Inception, perfect example of a practical effect is the hallway fight scene with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and those two goons, right? Oh my! And when they're in the hotel and because he makes this like centrifuge that turns, and while it's turning, the actors are in there fighting. And again, that's another great example of not having to use CG. Why not stick them into a hallway that rotates?
With some wires on a harness.
Makes sense.
Then guess what? We go in and we digitally paint out those little things because it makes sense.
Right.
Because why stick them in a fucking C? Because here's the thing. Any other director had directed this film, that hallway scene would have been made, I can tell you right now, guaranteed.
Exactly what you're going to say.
You would have put them on wires. You would have shot them on a green screen.
Yep.
And then that would have been the end of it.
Mm-hmm. They would have
gone in. Yep. Yes. They would have gone in, either made a miniature, which more than likely they wouldn't have spent the energy and the time to make the miniature or had the decency to think about it. What they would have done is they would have shot a plate on green screen, taken that plate, then gone in digitally, created a digital CGI rendering of the scene that the director wanted. They would have gone in, they would have superimposed that, camera tracked everything, tied it all in together and done it that way, and you would have been able to know it was CGI, because there's something about CGI that you can tell when you put it in that big of a scene.
Well, especially if it's a rushed job, because you have something. Because here's another thing: when you have a scene like this hallway fight, because there's so much there and there's so many different lighting elements, and you have the actors running in front of things constantly. It's so hard to create a 3D environment around all of that. And if you rush it, like what happened with the Black Panther, if you remember that last fight scene, everything ends up looking like fake shit and it looks terrible. So
sorry guys, I get it.
Yeah, it's hard to remind yourself of a failure that.
Brian anger demon is starting to come out.
Boy, what a rough scene.
It is coming out.
But that's a great example of why you don't do all of CG for your stuff. You got to make sure you put in practical effects, or else it's gonna look like shit. And when you do a practical effect like this hallway, not only do your actors have things to work off of to make them feel like they're really in the role,
right?
But everything looks real. Everything looks natural. If you were to do CG and you fucked up the lighting, you could tell that these people were just on a green screen the whole time.
Yep.
You know, and because the human eye is trained to know what realistic lighting looks like, because we encounter it every single day.
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly. That's it. That's perfect. It's like when they try to do CGI humans. Even now, you can still tell, because what do we stare at the most every day? Another human face. What am I staring at right now? Another human face right now. You know that by heart, subconsciously, what a human face truly looks like, moves like, the weight of certain movements when people make those movements, those expressions. They'll never be able to achieve it. I believe. I don't believe they'll ever be able to get it.
We've come close.
Perfect.
We've come close a couple times, and the only reason we've come that close was because of that character's face usually having something to do with shadows. Because shadows hide a lot of impurities,
and that's what I say.
Of flaws.
And that's what I always say. If you're gonna do this CGI shit, if you're gonna do it, darken your scene. Use the CGI and if you want to do humans, do it in scenes where it's added a little bit of a distance from the camera, in a lot of shading, a lot of shadows, a lot of darkness, because that's the best way to do it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Look at Jurassic Park, the original Jurassic Park that came out in '93. Amazing CGI. Even to this day, the CGI holds up better than most of the CGI being pumped out by major studios.
Especially Black Panther's fight scene.
Yes. Goddamn. Especially the only scene, sorry guys, the only scene that doesn't hold up to me is the very beginning when Alan Grant is looking up at the giant fucking tricyclopox, whatever the fuck it's called. Whatever the fuck that thing is, a giant fucking penis neck.
That's what it is.
Giant long penis, not dinosaur.
The tricyclopenis. Yeah, that's the one.
Tricyclopenis. That thing. Yes, tricyclopenis, guys.
The tricyclopenosaurus.
It doesn't look real because the textures weren't advanced enough in the lighting. They didn't have what they call subsurface scattering and bump maps.
Yeah,
sorry,
but
I'm learning these things.
But back then,
guys,
when it first came out, that was the most amazing thing people have ever seen in their lives.
But that's the only shot that doesn't hold up now, because why? It's in pure daylight. Pure daylight.
The T-Rex scene still looks good because it's at night.
Yes, and even the ending where the T-Rex and the Raptors are fighting, it's still in shaded, a bit of darkness, so they're able to create depth with the shadows.
Right.
Sorry, guys. The only reason I know these technical terms is because I watch Corridor Crew. Quick shout out to Corridor Crew, which guys
go subscribe to them and watch their videos. They are
please
great.
I watch them. I'm subscribed to them. I have notifications up for them. The moment a video goes live, I'm there. I'm ready to watch that shit. So good. It's so good. Corridor Crew, if you're listening, let's do a collaboration one day, guys. Please, it would be amazing to do. That would be fantastic. With you guys. It'd be so cool. But anyways, Christian, we've talked a lot. We've deep dived into theory world from the get-go. It's my fault because you can't. This whole film is meant for you to theorize. What really is happening.
Right.
So other than the things, the other little things that we touched on, was there anything else about this film that you want to touch on real quick before we end it? Because there are other things, there are other little subplots that are happening in the film. The relationship with the father and the son, who they're trying to do the Inception on, who's played by Cillian Murphy, who's a fantastic actor and definitely a go-to for Christopher Nolan in terms of actors that he brings on, other than his number one, which is Michael Caine. You got J. Michael Caine. Sorry, guys, it's a horrible English accent. All our listeners in the UK, I'm sorry, I'm butchering it. I know.
They're so offended right now.
They
stopped drinking their tea. They're like, "How dare you!"
God save the Queen. All right. So, are there any other scenes that stood?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh my God! Yeah. Are there any other scenes that stood out to you, or things that stood out to you in this film that you want to touch on real quick before we go ahead and end this amazing review of a film?
Other than Tom Hardy being complete Rambo there towards the end, no, I don't think I have anything else to talk about. Boy, he went full on, just gunning everyone down. Good for him.
He did. He was amazing. The only other thing I do want to touch on really, 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 really quick is the character of Sato. I believe I'm saying it right?
Saito, I think.
Saito, thank you. I apologize for our Japanese listeners out there because, guys, we do have plenty of Japanese.
They stopped eating their sushi. What?
What? No, I'm not gonna offend our Japanese listeners, guys. We have people in real quick. We got people in Japan. Holy shit! I'm sorry, guys. I'm so amazed at where our podcast.
Every time we do a new episode, you keep telling me all these different countries that are starting to listen to our podcast.
There's so
and
many.
It blows my mind
guys, listen. I sent Chris. It does exactly. So I just want to give a quick shout out to our listeners in Japan. Thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy lives, because we understand the culture over there and how crazy work is. And when you have time for yourselves, we really appreciate that you take that time that you have to listen to us. So thank you.
But and guys, shout out to that one kid in Tasmania. We love you.
That one kid in Tasmania.
Hell
damn
yeah.
Skippy. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir or ma'am. I don't know what you are. Thank you.
You help keep us afloat.
You do. Listen, the actor that plays Saito's character, one of my favorite actors in anything he is in.
What is it?
And his name escapes me, and I'm so mad for it.
I got you.
Thank you.
His name is Ken Watanabe.
Oh, that's right.
This
Ken
is
Watanabe.
the Legend of a Fighter. From,
oh my God, guys, listen. I'm not out there to fucking offend anyone in Japan or anything, but listen, Ken Watanabe and Godzilla, King of Monsters, Godzilla and King of Monsters.
Character.
When he gets on screen, guys, and he looks at the camera, and he turns to the camera, and he's like, "Let them fight." I'm like, yes. And this is another guy. He's someone who I get so excited about when I see him in anything, because he has such a gravitas.
He does.
And a presence. He has such a presence. When this dude's on screen, I'm like, oh my God. I'm in love. Yes. Speak to me. Let me hear your Japanese accent. I love it.
It is good.
Fucking love it. He's such a great actor. And he's another Nolan regular. You know, he's been around from the beginning, right?
Really?
Batman Begins, when Nolan really took off commercially. He was the faux Ra's al Ghul. He was the fake Ra's al Ghul. He was the dummy Ra's al Ghul.
Okay.
That was presented to us, that he had the very traditional racist, little stash and the goatee.
Dr. Crane, Scarecrow. What's Cillian Murphy? Is that his name?
Cillian Murphy, Michael Caine.
He was also in there. And Michael Caine,
Christopher Nolan is another regular. Oh my God, who else is a regular? There's so many of them.
Well, all these people work together.
All of them. They all work together. And that's one of the things I always touch on with certain directors and reviews that we do, guys, is that these directors, they latch onto certain actors and they stick with them. Mm-hmm. Why? Because they know what they can get out of them and that they work best together. Why waste your time with someone else when you know that, hey, let me call up Ken Watanabe or Michael Caine and be like, hey, listen, I have this script. These are the lines you have.
On a Saturday, just going to call Michael Caine real quick.
Yeah.
Hello? You available?
Yeah.
God,
you
I wish
think
I
you
had
can be in
that
this
power.
movie? How much money do you want? Let's figure this out.
Jesus.
You know what I mean? Look, I have nothing else to say about this film, guys, because we're just going to keep dragging it and dragging this review
All right.
out.
So then let's say if we had to rate it, what would we give this film?
If we had to rate this film, this is a 10 out of 10 for me. Inception is a 10 out of 10 guaranteed for me because it makes me think every time I see it. I'm never bored.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always watching this film like it was the first fucking time I've seen this film.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a 10 out of 10. No hesitation. Christian, what's your final score for this film?
A little bit of hesitation.
Okay.
With a 9 out of 10.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and I say that just because I understand everyone is able to take in information differently, and we are not all the same. So it's a little bit harder for some people to grip what's happening. And I'm one of those people. Like, it's hard for me to like, if you're talking to me really quick and you're showing me things really fast, and I'm like, I'm trying to keep track of everything, what's happening on screen, I start to lose it, and my mind will start to drift. So I am one of those people that have to go back and I have to rewatch things over and over and over again, and then it makes more and more sense.
Sure.
So, but on rewatching, yeah, I can definitely give this movie a 9 out of 10. And there are a couple things that while I was watching, I was nitpicking, because, you know, I'll nitpick great films. Because
everyone does. I even do it. Even
because when you see a great
10
film,
out of 10 for me.
You see a great film, you're like, I gotta say something about this. There's gotta be something bad.
Yeah.
Not every movie's perfect. That's why you'll never hear a 10 out of 10 come out of my mouth. But I try to nitpick everything I can, just so I can, you know, see what needs to be improved. And then this way, when we watch another great film, I can compare that to the film that we just watched.
Absolutely.
And I have to stand by my 9 out of 10. Because this is still one of the best movies I have seen. It's so good, damn good. It's just so fantastic.
It is goddamn amazing.
Everything is great.
All right. So, guys, that wraps up our review of Inception, directed by Christopher Nolan and starring Leonardo DiCaprio. And it is a great film, guys. It's a fantastic film. Mm-hmm. It's a timeless film. It's a timeless film. It will go down in history, I'm telling you now, as one of the greatest films ever made. Of the 2000s, when they do a retrospective in the 3000s, they're going to go, in the 2000s, this is one of the greatest films that ever came out in cinema history, and even to this day. I'm telling you right now.
I was surprised that a decade later, it still holds up extremely well.
Perfectly well. I
can definitely see this lasting a very
long
time.
Guys, I do. I agree too. So, guys, listen. This has been our review of Inception. A 10 out of 10 from me and a 9 out of 10 from Christian. Get your butts out there on Netflix. Go watch it now if you haven't seen it. If you listen to the whole review, well, guess what? It was spoiled, but it's okay. Go back and watch the goddamn thing. It's amazing. Guys, that ends our review for Inception. Okay? Have a good day wherever you may be. Thank you so much for listening or watching this.
Catch us on Twitter.
Catch us on Twitter and Instagram.
At The Critic Cave, yes. And hashtag The Critic Cave on Instagram. We're also on patreon.com/The Critic Cave. And by the way, funny story, I just found out that the URL for The Critic Cave was never put in. I thought I did. I didn't. Oopsie. So if you go to www.patreon.com/The Critic Cave, it'll bring you directly to our page.
Okay.
So if you would like to support us with a $1 or more or whatever value you want, go ahead, check out our tiers, see what you'll get. And then you can also support us by going on to iTunes Podcast, rating 5 stars, subscribing. We're also on Stitcher. We're also on Spotify. And now we're also on YouTube. So be sure to give us a like and subscribe.
Damn, Skippy. I couldn't have said it better myself. So, guys, to wrap it up, this has been Christian and this has been Brian for The Critic Cave. Thank you so much. And we are hecho in fucking Mexico, guys.
Damn right.
Have a great day, everybody.
Love
Goodbye.
You guys.
Bye.